So, Mr. Perkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
About 2 minutes.
So, Minister, if I heard you right earlier, you said that the government started to take this issue seriously around 2018. Is that correct?
Well, certainly
Just
we
a
came
yes
in
or no.
office in 2015, and I would say when I look at the list of actions that have
Well,
been taken
I'm not
with
looking for the
first
list. I'm just
government-
looking, you said 2018 was your testimony. Are you aware that in 2015, the National University of Defense Technology, which is the research and development arm of the Chinese government for the Chinese military, was banned and blacklisted in the United States by Barack Obama?
If you say so, Mr. Perkins, I always say
So obviously you're not aware of that.
What you're saying
So
as
I
being
guess
the
you
record.
haven't been paying that much attention to it if you're not aware that
Sir, with
almost
respect,
9 years
the
ago.
previous
No,
conservative government has done nothing, sir. I won't take any lesson
If
from
I could
you on that.
interject as the chair, let's try not to talk over the person answering, and let's try not to talk over the person questioning. Please give each other some respect and some time to answer your questions and ask questions. Thank you.
So your answer indicated that you weren't aware, or you would have said yes. So over the past 5 years, the National University of Defense Technology, you've said since 2018 you've been paying attention, has done 240 joint papers and research projects with Canadian universities. Doesn't sound like your government was taking it very seriously.
I don't know why that, what's the question in a sense, sir? We've been the ones who have been, the previous conservative government has done nothing, so I'll take no lessons. What I can say to you is that our government is the government which has put the security guidelines in place. And don't take it from me, Mr. Perkins, take it from the experts. The experts would tell you that they would say, Minister, they came to see me. The expert would say, Minister, thanks for what you've been doing. You've been putting the security
Well, I'd like, can
front
you
and center."
table a list of those experts that have complimented you? Thank you. I'd appreciate that. Also, can you tell me if you have actually banned, which the United States, which President Barack Obama did in 2015, have you banned the National University of Defense Technology from doing research in Canada?
I would say we've done more than that. We have issued
No, that's a
guidelines
yes or no.
that would cover. No, but sir, that's an answer. We've done more than that.
Have you banned them?
We have done
No,
more
but
than
that's
that.
not my question. My question
no,
was,
but
have
that's
you
my
banned them?
answer. We have more. We have done more than that because it's country and company agnostic and organization agnostic.
But you
Why?
have not. So
Because
you
that's the smart thing to do, Mr. Perkins.
But you have not banned them. Have you banned Huawei from doing research in Canada since they still have patents pending and research going on in Canada?
Better than that, sir. I have banned them to be from infrastructure network in Canada.
You haven't banned them from
that's
research.
That's even better.
Though. You have not banned them from
what
research.
we have done, sir, it's even better. We have
So
provided
you've
a
not
framework
banned
that
the
would
Chinese
capture
government
Huawei,
from
sir.
doing research in Canadian universities.
No, but we've done more than that, sir. We've done more than that.
No,
That's
you
what
haven't,
is
because you haven't
interesting.
banned China from doing
Look,
research.
If you look at even the university
Guidelines are
have
not
decided,
banning individual companies. Why
what I'm
won't you
saying
ban
is
those
that
companies?
it's even better because we
That's
have
the end
framework.
of 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 8 years ago, the U.S. administration blacklisted Beijing's National University of Defense Technology, which reports directly to the Beijing-based Communist Party's Central Military Commission on the basis that it posed a national security threat. 8 years later, and 3 administrations later, the NUDT remains blacklisted by the United States. Incredibly, the minister in the last hour was oblivious to that blacklisting on the part of the United States, despite the fact that Canadian universities are collaborating with the NUDT, as well as granting councils that fall under his purview have provided funding out of taxpayers' dollars to projects involved in the NUDT to the benefit of Beijing. Can the officials confirm that that the minister has the power to issue a ministerial directive to block federal funding to projects involving Beijing's NUDT? The minister has that power, correct?
So do
you want to go first?
Does the minister have the capacity to block or to direct the councils not to fund funding specific to an institution? That is what will be done partly through the directives. So he has the power. Now, maybe I'll pause there.
He does have that power, yes. Thank you very much. And he has not exercised that power, has he?
At present, the minister has issued guidelines to universities and to the research councils around considerations that are not institutional specific. The new guidelines will include a list of institutions.
And thank you for that. And so those guidelines do not mention the NUDT, they do not mention the CCP, they do not mention the PLA, correct?
Guidelines at present are not specific to countries or not specific to institutions.
And 9 months later, we're still waiting for the list of entities, but he promised that he would deliver expeditiously back in February, and he says it's going to come soon. I don't know what soon is by this minister's definition, but can you clarify, through you, Mr. Chair, that consequently, there is no prohibition, nothing expressly in place to block granting councils that fall under the minister's purview from funding or otherwise supporting projects that are working in collaboration with the NUDT, which reports directly to Beijing's People's Liberation Army.
Current guidelines would preclude funding to a research project in a sensitive area and in areas where there is reason to believe that national security could be in place.
What's a sensitive area?
Some of them have been defined in the guidance, in Annex A of the existing guidance. Those would include areas, for example, potentially around nuclear or around areas of weapons building or around areas of dual use that could be transferred, that could result. It would also include areas, for example, where personal information could be at play.
And yet we know that despite those guidelines, as I reminded the minister, we have patents that have been issued to Huawei that involve Canadian researchers specifically in relation to 5G, which is one of the 5 areas that have been identified by CSIS as areas of sensitivity involving research. So it underscores that those guidelines have no teeth and are simply not working.
Mind if I just respond to that? I mean, I think it's just when you talk about specifically patents, I think it's important to appreciate that the time between the research activity and the filing of a patent can be quite long. So in some, I mean, I don't know the specifics of these cases, but in some cases you could be talking research that was done 10 years ago that's resulting in patents today. So I mean, I think you have to look at the specific case.
Sir, I take your point, but I think you've clarified that minister has tools at his disposal to block the funding of taxpayers' dollars to entities such as the NUDT connected directly to Beijing's People's Liberation Army, and he has failed to use those tools at his disposal, undermining Canada's national security in the face of very serious interference by the Beijing regime, which he refused to acknowledge is existential to Canada.
Mr. Chair, can I just make a quick comment, if I may? I mean,
We're over time. I think we've gone through this before, and we're